Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome into the Gramlich and Mac Lane podcast, presented by Ingles, the official supermarket of Gramlich and Mac Lane. Mac, unfortunately, they don't have Ingles in California, but I know they're lost. But we are heading out to California for today's episode. We were actually in California for yesterday's episode, and now we're back.
We're staying here.
Yeah, talking about that team's rival, the Cal Golden Bears. Justin Wilcox, low-key, one of my favorite interviews of this whole session.
He was just defensive guy. I'm shocked by that.
Well, I know. You could tell he was a defensive guy, but also he was just real. Yeah. Like, he was real. I don't know if he said this on air or off air, but we talked about the travel. He goes, guys, we're just going to have longer flights and we're going to drink more water. Like, let's go.
Pack more water and Gatorade and we're good.
I loved it. I was like,
it was the quote of the season. Quote of the season.
Yes.
You know what we need to do? You know what we need to do, KG? Is we need to have like a big, elaborate graphic. So BG, I hope you're listening. And we just need to have that font on there that just says, just pack more water and Gatorade.
Just pack more water. Gatorade.
That's so funny. I love it. Fine. Welcome, Coach. That's all we need. What's your favorite flavor of Gatorade, KG?
Oh, lemon Gatorade? Lemon lime.
Lemon lime.
Not even close.
Yeah, that's probably the worst possible answer. That's so gross.
What's yours?
Everybody, please let us know in the comments.
What's
Lemon
yours?
lime? Oh, probably orange just because I'm a homer.
No.
Probably orange.
They made us, Mac, I'm surprised. Because, Cal fans, if you're new, Mac and I both went to Clemson. Mac played football. I played basketball. We had to drink. All we got was orange Gatorade. If I never had orange Gatorade again, I'd be fine.
You know what?
I can't have it anymore.
Take that C that's behind you and set it down so no one can see it.
I'm so over orange Gatorade. Gross.
That's disappointing.
Anyway, Mac. Cal went 6-7 last year, 4-5 in the Pac-12. Made a bowl game.
Woo.
Pretty solid season. Beat Washington State, Stanford, and UCLA. Had a really strong finish. They did lose their bowl game. They lost to Auburn close early in the year. They go to Auburn in the second game of the season this year. That's really interesting. Yeah. And, of course, you add in the travel, all that. But let's get to Coach. Then we're going to dive into schedule. We're going to dive into Jadyn Ott and some of these other pieces, Mac. But first, let's talk to head coach Justin Wilcox.
Did you know that Ingles sells more organics than any other store? Or that they run their own dairy? Or that they only serve USDA choice and prime meat? Did you know that they have more local craft beer than any place else? Or that they have Energy Smart stores? Or that they professionally slice and package imported cheese from Europe? Did you know about their giant international aisle, local farm partnerships, curbside pickup, wine department? Or that they donate 3,956 meals a day to local food banks? Well, now you do. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Coach, great to see you, brother. It is summertime and we are cranking this thing up. And welcome officially to the ACC. Listen, Cal was your first job after being a GA, and you got that assistant coach job, and now obviously being the head coach there. I wanted to start with that and just kind of see, how was that? Was it kind of a surreal full circle moment? Because you've been kind of all throughout the Midwest and the West and obviously the Southeast as well. But, staying right there at Cal had to be pretty cool.
Yeah. I got into coaching rather quickly out of college and had a chance to come here after my GA years at Boise and work for Jeff Tedford and Bob Gregory here at Cal. And I had some really phenomenal teams during that time. I was here when Aaron and Marshawn and Deshaun Jackson. I mean, we had some fantastic teams. So then I kind of went on my way and became a defensive coordinator, a number of stops throughout the country, and then most previously Wisconsin, working for Paul Christ, who was fantastic head coach and experience there at Wisconsin, and then got the chance to come back here and have been here for a while now, and really enjoy the guys that we get to recruit here, and got a great staff to work with, and obviously a lot's changed in college football in the last 7 years, especially in the last couple of years, but really excited about the ACC and the schedule in front of us and the teams we're going to get to play.
Yeah, a lot has changed. That's an understatement, perhaps. We'll get into some of that, but I know for you coaches, a lot of it is just, look, this is our job now, and we're going to figure out how to do it. I want to go way back because your dad is a Pro Football Hall of Famer. So he played in the NFL for a long time, linebacker, I believe. Tell me about your childhood. I mean, was there just no choice for you, Coach?
No, there were plenty of choices. Yeah, my dad played for the 49ers for 11 seasons, and then he retired and moved back to Oregon. He was a real small town guy. I grew up in a very small town. I was born after he was done playing, and grew up in a really small town up in Oregon. We had a farm there, but one of those like one high school, one middle school, one elementary school towns. It was awesome. Junction City, Oregon. Really proud to be from there. But it was not a one of those. We didn't grow up going to camps and going to pro games, and we knew he played pro football. He had a little bit of paraphernalia, but he was a farmer. I mean, that's just what he did. And they didn't make quite the money that they do these days, and so that was his calling after being a football player. And he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in the year 2000, and that's right when I was graduating from college, which was really cool because then I got to watch him have that experience. And he went in with Joe Montana and Ronnie Lott and Howie Long and Mr. Rooney, and getting to watch him experience that was really special because I was old enough to appreciate it and having just finished college football. So, but we didn't grow up with this, talking about football and, you're going to play this, you're going to do that. No, we just, the choices were you could either play sports or move pipe and worked on the farm.
Go to
Those
work.
were the choices.
Right.
So we found out quickly, like, I'm going to play every sport so I don't have to move the irrigation pipe.
That sounds like a smart move, Coach.
Thanks.
Well, yeah. You're at Cal, you're smart. Speaking of your high school career, you were a quarterback in high school, I believe, but then at Oregon, you ended up becoming a pretty darn good safety and playing in the secondary. So what did that teach you about sticking with it? Because I know, these days players come in, if I'm not playing year one, I'm out, see ya. How do you apply that to this world we're in now?
It's a different world. And these guys are, they're still young guys who are developing and growing as people and as football players, and our job is to help develop them. They have decisions they got to make, and they have more decisions to make. And there's also more consequences that come with that. I had a great experience as a player at Oregon. I played for great coaches and met lifelong friends. I got into coaching because of experiences I had with certain coaches, Bob Gregory and Nick Aliotti and Bob Foster and Coach Peterson. Chris Peterson was there at the time. And being around them, really I got to play because I paid attention and tried to do what the coaches asked me to do. And so I figured if I could do that, if I could teach the other guys that are more talented than I was, then I know they could be, decent to really good football players. And so I had a passion for that and got into coaching, and have been very fortunate throughout my career to be around other great coaches and learned a lot from them.
That's awesome, man. And I think the just doing that, because that's hard, right? Especially QB. Everybody wants to be QB. Nobody wants to change from that position. Others, you can kind of talk a guy into, but those quarterbacks, they want to hold on to it for everything that they can. And I think that's a great, ability and story that you have that's real life, that you can kind of sell that to guys that, man, just be patient. Like there's something that really great could happen because you're a living testament kind of that. Let's jump into your team a little bit here, Coach, and learn about these guys and what you guys have going on, and just kind of who you want to continue to be. I know you're going into your 8th football season here, and starting on the defense, I mean, you guys look really multiple. I mean, you show a bunch of different looks. You love to have those defensive ends standing up and outside linebacker edge type guys. So as you join the ACC this year, does anything change for you? Is there anything that you see that maybe this will work better here, just knowing that you have kind of a multi-faceted approach with this defense?
Yeah, I mean, defensively, we've made some significant tweaks and changes. You're constantly doing that based on what you think the strengths of the players are, and then matching that against the opponents you're seeing and the schemes and the talent that you're playing against. But we've definitely made some adjustments and changes. I think we're constantly doing that to try and find a little bit better way, and we have to do a better job. We did a great job defensively last year taking the ball away. We gave up way too many explosives in the pass game. We need to get more negative plays on first and second down. So we've made some changes with that in mind. Our defensive staff has done a phenomenal job. We got really good coaches. I trust them completely, and we're fortunate to have them. And I think the players we've added some competition at certain spots. So we're looking forward to watching those guys get some opportunities to continue to grow. And we'll do the same thing on offense. We have a formula, we have an identity, and kind of, we to run it at you. We're going to screen it and then launch it, and but ultimately the players will dictate the scheme, and then we got to make sure we give them plenty of opportunities to be explosive in the game.
Speaking of that, we'll get to Jadyn Ott, we promise. But let's talk about your defense a little more. Just some guys that you're looking for to step up this year. Craig Woodson's a guy that comes to mind. I saw he was on one of the Phil Steele lists. He's already putting those out. But give us some names to watch on defense.
Yeah, Craig's one of them. Craig's been here a long time. He knows the system inside and out. He's a really good football player. We've had a bunch of DBs here in the past 6-7 years have gotten drafted, and I think Craig's got a bright future in football. Phenomenal human being. So he's one. I think there's a couple corners that could make some noise. Marcus Harris is a transfer from Idaho that really did some great things in spring. Noel Williams, who was with us last year. Cade Uluave is a freshman last year. He plays inside linebacker. Cade's a very explosive player. Really started the last half of the season, and as soon as he started playing, the number of times he touched the ball on defense, either picked it off or scooped it or caused a fumble, and the negative plays, really, he has a real instinct for playing the position. And even though he's young, he has big playability. So those guys, and then we got some veteran edge guys that we want to see consistency from. They had some huge moments. David Reese had 6 or 7 sacks in the last few weeks of the season, and we're looking forward to him doing that throughout the season. Same with Xavier Carlton. So more consistency from some guys, and then some opportunities for some of these newcomers.
Yeah, Coach, how do you speak of that young freshman that came in and just does this thing? How do guys just have that knack for getting the ball, being around the ball? Is he an unbelievable, film study where the guy just never leaves the facility? Is he just talented or just a little lucky? Is it right place, right time? How do defensive guys sometimes just have that?
If anybody had the actual formula for that,
you'd have a lot more.
Yeah, but you look on high school tape, you do your evaluations, you do the best you can. They're not. Everybody makes mistakes in recruiting, or sometimes it just takes a little while. It takes a couple of years for the guy to get into rhythm. Cade, the game makes sense to Cade, and he studies, but he sees things quicker than most. He was a very, very good high school running back. And you see that in how he plays linebacker. Wow. When you get him lined up right, you get him to, know what his job is, run and pass game, and then you let him play. And we've learned throughout the years with certain linebackers, some guys want to know what everybody's doing. They want every piece of information available, and then that's how they play. Jack Sermon was like that, and he was really good because of that. There's other guys, you want to give them kind of enough information, but not more than that. And then you let him play because the instincts will show up. And Cade's one of those guys. And he's an explosive athlete. And like I said, causes fumbles, pick the ball off, tackles for a loss. So he'll make mistakes. He's still young, but really think he's got a big upside.
Yeah. Could you expound a little bit more on the running back comparison there? Like he can see holes quickly, just to break it down for everybody.
Go where they're not,
Yeah.
Where's the air? And I can think of a play. Like against UCLA, there was a 4th down, and we were kind of it was maybe a 30 or 40 yard line. They were going in, and they went for it on 4th and 1, and we were kind of a goal line type defense. It was a big, heavy formation. Got him aligned right, and there was air in the A gap for just a count, and he took the space in the A gap, tackle for a loss, we're off the field. And, as a coach, you could go through and you watch this and you kind of talk about it. But that decision has to be made instantly, and there has to be instinct involved. Because to say you're going to see the guard flinch, and then there's going to be some space, and then I got to some guys see it and they go. It's that natural instinct in them, and Cade's got that.
I love that. Wow. That's exciting to hear. And just how much better he's going to be year 1 to year 2, and the growth and the knowledge and knowing how to play football. That's a big thing that we see all the time with freshmen. They take that step just because the knowledge is so much better and in-depth. Let's look at your quarterback room, Coach, because obviously Mendoza stole that spot or took that spot. He didn't steal anything. Took that spot over, finished the season as a starter. I believe it was 8 games, and had some success. I think had some really shining lights. And, then in the spring, bring a guy or two in, and, maybe it's still a competition. Maybe it's not. Where is that room? And, what have you seen from them throughout this summer?
Well, Fernando did a great job coming in as a freshman. He is a very driven guy. He's smart, really smart. He's very competitive. He's got a really good arm. I mean, he can make the throws, and that experience was invaluable for him. I think he did a great job of creating some momentum. The team definitely believes in him, and he also has a lot of room to get better and needs to get better. And he would tell you the exact same. He's a freshman quarterback that played quite a bit, and he will get better. We brought in Chandler Rogers, who's played a lot of college football, and he's been very, very productive. Chandler, they're not the exactly the same type of quarterback. They can do different things really well, but I think Chandler's a very talented guy. And our role, our job is to bring in as many good players as we can and let them compete. And I think both those guys have a ton of ability, and I think both of them are getting better. And we feel good about that quarterback room because of them.
And they get to hand the ball off to Jadyn Ott, so they're probably pretty happy about that.
That helps. Yeah.
I mean, he was special last year, Coach. And I'm just thinking, too, about this year, the running backs in the ACC. When you think of the guys that are already there, and then you bring in, obviously, you and Stanford and Cal, and specifically Ott, preseason All-American, all these things. What do you feel like he's been improving upon, and what do you expect from him this season?
Well, I think his body, he's a strong guy. He's not 235, 40 pounds, but he is strong. And I think he's built up his body. And I think for him, we've seen what he can do, at his best. And he is an explosive guy. He can accelerate. He can hit a home run, so to speak. Like, he can score from a long way out. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He will protect. And now it's about consistency throughout the season, week in and week out. And that's hard. I mean, that's really hard. It's hard for anybody. But I think that's where his next step's going to be, is that week in, week out performance. And I know he's excited to show that and prove that. And I know he can do it. And he's had a really, really good offseason. He's got leadership skills. The guys really take to him and respect him. And so we're looking forward for, Jay to do big things.
Is that some type of conversation that had to be had, or is it just kind of understood? Because he's an older guy right now, and it's one of those things where you take that extra responsibility. I love that you brought up the leadership piece, but is there something that had to happen for him to get that and know that?
No, Jadyn as a person's got great intentions. I think that's where it starts. And, leadership reveals itself in different ways. Some guys are obviously vocal and, and will make the speech or the comments, or, like David Reese, for example, has got shown really strong leadership on defense, and he's a pretty vocal guy. And Jadyn has his own way. Like, we try not put him into boxes, but it all goes back to, like, your intent. Are your intentions right? Doesn't mean you're perfect, but where are your intentions? What's your work ethic like? Are you doing what you say you should be doing? And I think he's done that. And so there's also the element of performance. I mean, he has shown that in big moments he can make big plays, and that does matter. So I think he's done a really nice job. He's grown a lot since he's been here, both on and off the field, and I'm excited for him.
That's amazing. How about this offensive line? Because, again, we kind of joked about it's easier for the quarterbacks. It's easier for these guys when you have such a player like Ott in the backfield. But obviously they have to do their job too, right? They have to get him going at some point, and hopefully you make that further and further downfield before he's even thinking about being touched. How have those guys embraced this challenge of just continuing, to get better, faster, stronger, bigger?
Yeah, we took a big step last year. At offensive line, run game, and pass protection, and we expect to take another step. We've got some guys with reps under their belt, TJ Sessions at right tackle, and Sia Wape, and Wyckoff's played quite a bit, and got him and Bastion in the middle there, and we got a freshman who's repping at left tackle now. He's a very talented young man. He's very young, but we expect those guys to take another step, and it all starts with those guys. I mean, you know that. I mean, you have to be like the heartbeat of the team and the toughness of the team, and that's a big part of it. They're the engine. So we expect a lot from them. Coach Mike Blest has done a fantastic job developing that group, and we brought some guys in to continue to push them because we have to perform well there consistently. And I think they're prepared for that, but it's like we're still not there yet, And I understand, at this level, you have to play great on the offensive line to win consistently.
Yeah. Coach, I feel like what we're talking about right now is kind of a lot of momentum in a lot of ways. When you look at how you guys finished the season, or the bowl game didn't go how you wanted, but the 3 games heading into the bowl game did go how you wanted. And of course, you guys start off pretty strong, have an opener, and then Auburn. Do you feel like there's a good amount of momentum that this team, this program can grab onto right now?
Well, I think there's strong character in the locker room, which I think showed itself, especially late in the season when we came off a terrible loss up in Eugene, and the guys never flinched, came back and practiced hard. We finished with 3 regular season wins. We did not play great in the bowl game, which was frustrating, and I think that still bothers everybody. And we got to create our own momentum. We got to create momentum this summer with our summer workouts, PRPs, fall camp. We got to create momentum in fall camp, and not just in the season, because obviously these are going to be competitive environments, starting week 1 with Davis, and then, as you mentioned, going to Auburn, and coming back San Diego State, going to Florida State. So there's going to be really competitive environments, and there's going to be adversity along the way, and being able to play through that, be resilient, and then create your own momentum is going to be key. But I think it all starts with the human beings in the locker room. I mean, those guys matter the most, and what they're made of matters.
I like what you're saying, create that momentum early, right? Don't just kind of get it late when it's obviously not too late because you made a bowl game and that's a big deal, but still getting that early. And then you talk about going to Auburn, going to Florida State, and then I believe going to Pittsburgh. Those are your first 3 road games. I know football is football, Coach, and y'all are going to be fine, but how do you handle this travel? Like, is there a plan in place? You've got people working on that. I mean, are there a few things you're going to be able to tweak there?
Yeah, we do have a great team of ops. Our operations crew is fantastic. They've already did the scouting. They went in the winter, then went again this spring doing hotels and airports and all that. At the end of the day, here's what it is. We leave a day early. Leave Thursday after practice. We're a morning practice outfit anyway. So you leave a day early. You take a bigger plane, and you make sure you got a lot of waters and Gatorades. I mean, we are not interested in, making more of this than it is. Is the flight longer? Sure, it is longer, but we're taking a big plane. The players sit up front, comfy seats, got the lie down stuff going. They got a great partnership with Delta. We got a lot of water, and we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We're not making more of it than we need to.
I love that. Get a lot of water. And is this something you can say too? Like, hey guys, you all want to play in the league. This is what it's like, right? You play for Seattle, you go play Miami. Like, this is just how it is.
Yeah, we're not interested in any, built-in or prefabricated excuse of missing a tackle.
Right.
Like, that's not. We're going to get there on Thursday night. We're going to eat, go to bed. We'll do our Friday routine based on what time the game is. We'll set our clocks on Friday, and then we'll wake up Saturday game, take a shower, and come home. Yeah,
love it.
That's
it. It's a good way to do it. It's a good way to do it for sure. Coach, last one for you, and we've asked everybody this in the league. Just very interested from coach to coach, quite frankly, on how you're going to answer this question. But we're going to have some new technology on the sidelines with iPads, with coach to player helmet communication. What are your thoughts on it? Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? And just how does that change your approach on a given game day?
Yeah, I think it's great. The iPads, we're going to start working through all that, practicing with it, because I think even the sideline iPad stuff, you have to practice that, and so we're going to do it in fall camp, and get used to that, implement that during some of our practice periods. The helmet communication, the player to coach communication is a good thing. I'm actually in favor of increasing the number of players who can receive it. Nice. I think that'd be helpful, but one is better than none. So for right now, we'll have the one on each side, and we'll utilize that. But I think there's times when you're still going to need to be able to signal based on, especially on defense, based on the pace of offense that you're playing. So, yeah. So we're going to use it. We'll be prepared. We're going to practice with it. I think it's a good thing. I think overall, I would just be in favor of increasing the number of players that could receive the communication.
What's the number? What I mean, you want all 11 to have it, or what do you?
Sure.
Really?
Sure.
Man. I tell you what, when I was playing O-line, I don't want anybody's voice in my head. I don't want to hear anybody.
It's just, and we talk about that too. You bring up a good point. It's not to tell them what to do. It's literally just to give them the call.
Yeah.
If you're trying to eliminate the signal issues that have come up in college football, then that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be fascinating. We'll see.
Yeah. Believe me, we talk about this all the time. Like we're not coaching the players between the plays.
Right.
That's the last thing that can happen because that's counterproductive.
Sure.
If we didn't prepare them well, then that's on us. But we're not doing that in the game. We're solving problems during the game on the sidelines. We're giving them information to run a play through their helmet, but that's it.
Right.
And people need to remember too, it cuts off at a certain time.
15
too,
seconds.
Got it.
Yeah. 15 seconds. So
15
we'll see.
seconds.
Anyway, Coach, this was great. Awesome to see you again. Excited for you guys to be in the ACC, and good luck this year, man. It's going to be a fun one.
Thanks. We're happy to be there. Appreciate you having me on. Go Bears.
All right, Mac, thanks again to Justin Wilcox for joining us and reminding us all to drink more Gatorade and water. Mac, Jadyn Ott is that dude. We talked about him with Justin Wilcox. He is definitely going to be the key to this Cal team. They bring back Mendoza, quarterback they're definitely excited about. I mean, they've got some pieces. Uluave, the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year defensively. I think that the one concern for Cal is this is kind of an example of what's happened to some of these programs. They lose their leading receiver and leading tackler to the portal, Hunter and then Elarms Orr. Both leave. So can this defense, which was pretty good last year, be as effective without him? And of course, losing your leading receiver, they got to figure out the receiving position. But overall, I think Cal, a bowl game should without a doubt be the goal for Cal this year.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And I think, again, kind of to stay on the defensive side, I mean, Cade was just, he played at another level. And just to hear from Coach, like, why and how was he so good? And just that GPS tracker that he has to the ball, and given that example of the fourth down stop where he just went where nobody was. He filled the gap, and it just happened to be right where the ball carrier was going. You can't really teach that. I mean, you can watch film and you can dive into it, but those instincts that you have that happen so quickly is a real separator. And to just see what he's going to be able to do this year is going to be really fun. And then just overall defense, we kind of asked him, do you think you need to change a little bit, the different offenses that are here? And, he said, we might, and we're going to be ready. And, not to give anything away. So that's going to be really exciting. But I am excited, really excited to see Jadyn Ott. I mean, we have some dogs at running back in this league, and he is certainly adding to it. I think of Martinez at Miami, and obviously our monster in North Carolina, the things that he's been able to do. So those three are kind of the best of the best, right now, at least going into the season. And who steps up around them, that can also be that.
I would say let's not forget about Tootin at Virginia Tech.
Yeah, Phil
I
Maffa.
think he's going to have a really good
there's
year.
some monsters.
Phil Maffa, for sure. And then you add in, I think Toafili could have a really good year down at Florida State, depending on how they use him. There are some names. There are some names in the ACC when it comes to running back. But to me right now, I think it's Omarion Hampton and then probably Jadyn Ott.
Right.
And
exactly.
We'll see what happens. Are those two, how they kind of interchange.
Yeah.
Mac, when you look at the schedule, we mentioned Auburn week 2. Of course, when Cal scheduled Auburn, whenever this was, they did not think they'd be in the ACC. I can almost guarantee you that. So you just add another cross-country trip. But also, look, like you got to look at it as a positive. If you go and beat Auburn, what are we talking about right now with Cal? Like, you have opportunities on this schedule. It is tough, though, Mac. Your road games at Auburn, at Florida State, at Pitt, at Wake, at SMU, the travel there is crazy. Yeah. They do have, when you get to Pitt, they have a big road trip, 2 home games. Big road trip, 2 home games, and then a road trip. So as tough as it is, I think it's almost as manageable as it could be with all this travel.
Well, and you have a nice break to add in extra water and extra Gatorade in between.
Exactly.
So you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. But no, seriously, I think when you look at that Auburn game, listen, Auburn is not going to be good. It's just is what it is. But that is a massive brand
environment.
game. That is a massive look at us. I'm going to be beating my chest, especially if Cal takes care of work type of game. And you have to win those. That's what's going to be so important with all 17 of these previews is when you play an SEC, a Big Ten team, and you're going across the conference there, outside of the conference, it changes narratives. That's what you're able to do if you go and win in those games. And we need it. Please make it happen. But it is a tough stretch to go to Auburn, to have a week break and then go to Florida State is going to be difficult. It's going to be hot. It's going to be different environments, and you got to be ready, and you got to prepare for that. So maybe bring extra Gatorade and water. So we'll see what they can do. It's going to be really interesting, just to see how these new teams unveil and what they look like in this league, KG.
Mac, where are we at on this win total at 6.5? I mean, I think I see wins. You got UC Davis, San Diego State, Oregon State at home. That should be a win. I think Syracuse at home is very winnable. Stanford is very winnable. Yeah. So your home games, NC State at home too, Miami at home, like they got to travel to you. Like that's where we add in kind of the difference here. Right. So I think quite a few winnable games at home. When I see the total at 6.5, I think this is a team that can very realistically be 6-6. To go over that, to say guarantee 7 wins with the travel, that's tough for me. So I think I lean under. But I also think this is a team that can very well be in a bowl game. 6-6 is very doable for me if I'm Cal.
Yeah, and 7 was kind of my number, so I was excited to see the 6.5. I feel pretty good about that. And do they sneak on somebody? Who is it? Is it Auburn? Is it Miami? Is it NC State? Kind of the big 3 there that they play. You have to think they can get it done. You have to think there's some inspiration, and they make that happen. So I think this is my first over of the series here, but I'm going over. I think I'm going 7. Feel really good about that, and like I said, it's going to be fun to see. Be fun to see what they do here. So that's it for this episode, guys. Week 1 in the books. We just sprinted through that thing, it feels like. Appreciate you guys hanging with us, joining in. These have been so much fun. We've got many, many more coming down the block. So get excited, get jacked up. Go reference the schedule page, the post, if you missed that, and you can see when your favorite team is coming in. But we appreciate you guys. Appreciate everybody over at Cal making this happen. Come over to the new family and appreciate your time. But need you to go to YouTube, subscribe, jump in the comments, tell us what you think. And, of course, the OGs over on Apple Podcasts, rate, review, subscribe. We would greatly appreciate that. But until next week, we'll see y'all.